So today I'm getting around to something that I've been meaning to do for absolutely ages. So I'm currently working on my Gunny Saxmus dress here in the background, and for that I had to order some ribbon. And so while I was at it, I ordered some Grosgrain ribbon so that I can reinforce the neckband out of my Marie Wallin Yell Cardigan, which you may remember me talking about previously in several videos about knitting. But unfortunately this band around the neck, it just doesn't want to lie flat, it constantly wants to curl in. So I had some suggestions when I mentioned this that adding a Grosgrain ribbon would help. So I'm going to try and do that today, and I thought I would bring you along with me and sort of make this a little bit of a tutorial, kind of. I've never done this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. It's more of an experiment. So I started with the bottom edge, just so I had a practice before I started filming, and you can see how I've eased it in because the knitted fabric is stretchier than the Grosgrain ribbon, and that's why we've got these puckers here. And it still stretches, so that's what we want. You can see at the top here, I've used a lighter colour thread because I was catching it down to this lighter section, and at the bottom I've got this darker colour thread. And for this outside edge, which you can see is rolling over quite a lot, I've got this wider Grosgrain ribbon. This was the widest I could find, but it isn't actually wide enough. You can see it doesn't cover this section, and I might add another ribbon there, basically, if it continues rolling over. So the other issue I'm anticipating is that the cast off edges, or cast on, are slightly wider than the inside edge, so I've had to ease it more in the inside edge, but it doesn't look to be puckering or anything. So but it's a lot more noticeable with this band here, so this part is not as wide as this outside edge, so I'm really going to have to ease in this outside edge more than the inside. So you can see here I've pinned my ribbon on, and you can see I've got these really quite big bubbles of excess, but I should be able to smooth that out as I sew it, and that will all disappear and I can ease it in. And you can see here I've just neatened the bottom of the ribbon by folding it under. And another thing actually that I've noticed is that, so this is the centre back neck, and the neckband isn't as wide here as it is at the hem. And I think that's just a tension issue with my knitting. So what I'm doing here is I've got my brown thread threaded off my needle, and I'm literally just easing it in, smoothing out that ribbon, stretching the knitting ever so slightly, and I'm catching it down with a felling stitch. I'm not going all the way through to the front, but I am catching more than just the floats on the wrong side. You know, I'm catching the actual stitches of the fabric. You can see here again, I'm just smoothing and easing it all in, stretching it out, getting it into position before I start hand sewing it in place. And this is just a felling stitch, same sort of thing you'd do to hem historical edges and things like that. And I'm just checking that you can't see it. You can sort of see it on the right side, but it's really not noticeable. So that's all I'm going to do, is I'm going to fell down the edges all the way along until the ribbon's held in place, essentially. Again, you can just see how I'm easing it in as I go, smoothing the ribbon and stretching the knitting ever so slightly. And here, I think what I'm demonstrating here is that the difference between a whip stitch and a felling stitch. So a whip stitch, the stitches lie vertical, and a felling stitch, they lie diagonally. And so you shift the needle along every time you take a stitch, and it just makes it marginally quicker than a traditional whip stitch. So now I've done the inside edge, I'm moving on to the outside edge, and you can really see how that's going to require more ease. So I'm just adding in a few more pins just to kind of keep everything nice and even. And then just the same thing again. I'm felling it down and I'm deliberately catching the stitches in the dark line of knitting at the edge here. All the way along, and then it's done. And so here's a look at the Yell cardigan with the Grosgrain ribbon, and you can see the difference that that's made to the way that the neckband lies, particularly around the neck. and over the chest. How much better is that? Look at that, it's made such a difference. I thought I was going to have to put in another ribbon to cover up the steek because I thought it might roll out like that, but it doesn't seem to be doing that, so I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. And yeah, it's a lot more comfortable as well actually around the neck with the ribbon in, much less itchy. So the only thing is where I've eased it a little bit, I don't know if you can see, it sort of bubbles a little bit, the knitting here. So I'm wondering if I can steam that out or something. But yeah, overall I'm really pleased. I hope this little video was vaguely interesting and maybe you found it useful. But I'm off to tackle my gunny sax dress now. But I can't wait to wear my new and improved Yell cardigan. So thanks for watching. See you next time.